Jekyll Island, one of Georgia's many wonderful state parks and the southernmost island of the Golden Isles. This 5,500-acre island is home to 10 miles of shoreline and a variety of events, family-friendly activities, and attractions. But one of the most attractive things to Jekyll is the famous Driftwood Beach. Driftwood Beach is special for many reasons. It has a certain beauty with its trees that resemble a scene from another world. Some believe this to be due to erosion. However, there is another reason for this magnificent attraction.
Yeah, I've heard of Driftwood Dan. I'm a local barista here at the coffee shop, so I hear a lot of things about the people that come by. We usually have a lot of customers, so it's really hard to keep up with everybody that comes here, honestly. But Driftwood Dan seems like a really weird guy. But some say he's one with the ocean or whatever. But I always just really thought that he was never really real.
See that new stuff Driftwood Dan built?
Who's that?
It's that guy over there on Driftwood Beach. Makes all them crazy structures out of the driftwood, blows up.
Oh, yeah. Dan's always kind of been an odd duck, you know? It's kind of like Thoreau said, let every man march to the beat of his own drummer. Dan definitely marches to the beat of his own drummer. I can remember when we were kids, most people were into sports or dating. Dan was really into trees.
I remember he was really kind of particular. He was really very focused on his art, and he used to carve his school pencils into different shapes. He didn't really hang out with the other kids. He was reserved and quiet.
Well, he wasn't too great in school, but...
We got walls. He don't do good with walls.
He didn't do good with that. He liked to be free. Those teachers didn't much appreciate him looking out the windows.
He always did his own thing. You know that he's a little weird, but you gotta admire that he always stepped out there and did it regardless of what other people thought.
That's right.
That's right. Just like his granddaddy.
Yeah.
Daniel.
Oh, yes, I've seen that man. He walked by here before. Poor soul, he looks so lost. It's so hard to believe that something so elegant and beautiful and natural could come from someone so strange.
You know, Dan is a strange guy, but I have to say I've always admired his independence. He is unique, and he's not afraid to be himself. You know, society pressures all of us into certain things, but Dan doesn't really listen to other people.
Your preacher thought he's what?
Daniel.
His preacher thought he was a devil worshiper because of the stuff he did.
Well.
Got church the boys out in the woods.
I know about that. He's a good boy. Real good. Always sweet.
Mira, ahí va el señor de arena.
¿Estás loco?
No, está hablando. Él tiene mucho talento.
¿Por qué dices eso?
Porque él es bien artístico, se ve en todo su arte.
¿Cómo?
O si lo ves su arte, se ve todo el talento y está muy bonito.
I seen him running across the street, walking in the woods, everything. He don't talk to nobody. He just keeps himself. He just don't take nothing from nobody. He just keeps himself. He's just mostly just out there moving around wood all day.
He'd spend hours and hours staring at trees. This one time in particular, We were playing basketball out at the basketball court, and Dan just kind of drifted off, and we were like, "Where's Dan?" And then up in this giant beech tree, we saw him sitting there. He had climbed up in the tree, and he was just staring at us play basketball. And the other kids didn't like that, and they started to throw fruit at Dan. And I think that might have been a turning point for him.
Yeah, I'm a regular here. I come here a couple times a week, actually. It's pretty amazing the progress he's made. It's really coming together. Every time I come out here, I see something new. It's pretty rad.
We absolutely love what Drifter Dan has done with the beach.
Yeah, we visit Driftwood a couple times a week, and just walking around and getting out reminds us that not all art entails an easel and a paintbrush, but instead people can create beautiful things from the world around them.
Usually it is part of the Jekyll Island Authority's responsibility to protect the environment, but he's sort of worked himself into the fabric of the ecosystem. Actually, it's almost like he works with the ocean to create this art. At least that's our official take on it.
Driftwood Dan. He's a local peculiarity here on the island. I've known Dan for, several years now, and Dan actually is a really interesting, helpful character. In fact, a lot of the local wildlife, including sea turtles, respond to him in a really unusual way, and actually a really beneficial way to our conservation efforts. We do a lot of patrols all up and down the island, and we find a lot of those nests up on Driftwood Beach. And Dan has an unusual way of locating them and marking them. He's real savvy to their reproductive habits and their lifestyle, and he'll mark them. And we've invited him out before, to tell you the truth, on some of our sea turtle surveys, but he never seems to want to join us. But he marks them in his own way, and we're able to go up there and make sure that the hatchlings survive and that the eggs survive, and it's been really beneficial over the years. I really appreciate his help.
He spent a lot of time alone. He spent a lot of time walking the railroad tracks, picking up pieces of wood, being in the woods alone. And he didn't really talk much after that. But, I miss Dan. I don't see him very often, but when we do get together, we mainly talk about wood.
He could have just followed his brother, and it wouldn't have been a big deal, and he'd have been fine. He ain't nothing like Dan.
Oh yeah, the two of them are nothing alike. Not one single bit.
God made them both, and he has this mold, and he has this mold, and they ain't in the same country. Yep.
That's right.
Are we gonna get the buffet?
Dan is sort of working himself into the fabric of the place. He's if there was a Jekyll ethos, Dan would be there doing his thing with the driftwood, and that's okay. Some of my family doesn't really understand what he does out there, but Dan, if you're listening to this, I'm okay. Okay? I'm okay.
Look, daddies always want the best for their kids. I'm no different. I suppose what would be the best for Dan's is to be happy. I mean, he's content. Everyone's got their thing, and so does Dan. He's doing good for the world, and that's all I can ask for as a father.
And that's how I discovered that my family tree has roots deep enough to withstand any storm. So the time is now. Branch out, strengthen your relationships while your tree is still alive. Don't be the reason your story becomes driftwood. Thank you.